the real reason why the Knicks are so dangerous. Here we are now in April. With the trade deadline and the All-Star weekend now in the past, everyone's seemingly gearing up for a playoff run. And yet, there's an unusual face in the playoff mix. In fact, they're far from in the playoff mix. They may very well claim home court advantage this season. The New York Knicks. I never thought I'd see the day where the New York Knickerbockers weren't only relevant again, but dangerous. That's right, dangerous. The Knicks have been the laughingstock of the entire league for nearly 2 decades now, to put it softly.
Boom!
And after the Kevin Durant debacle, the miss on Zion Williamson, and James Dolan's leadership, or lack of leadership, there's basically been no reason to revert attention back to the dying New York franchise. Until now. The New York Knicks came into the season with low, and I'm talking really low, expectations because the majority of the league pegged them and the Pistons as having the 2 worst rosters in the Eastern Conference, and just maybe the league as a whole. And yet, as of the time I'm recording this, the Knicks are 23-22, and 0.5 games behind the Hornets for the 4th seed in the East. Not only are the Knicks relevant, but they've taken care of some serious competition this season and pose a legitimate threat to any other contenders moving forward. So then, what is it that makes the Knicks so dangerous? And why have they had such unprecedented success this year? How did they go from being the laughingstock of the NBA to a respectable team? Upon looking further into the success of the franchise, we can most simply narrow it down to 3 main contributors. Defense. Part of what makes this Knicks squad so dangerous is the massive leap they've taken on the defensive side of the ball, in large part due to the addition of head coach Tom Thibodeau. Tibbs renowned for his gritty, hard-nosed, tough defensive schemes and his ability to get his players energized to compete. However, he's also well known for pushing his players too hard to the point where they break or become seriously injured. So even though many had hope, there was still some uncertainty heading into the season as to whether or not anything would actually change. However, the Knicks have taken over this season as one of the best teams on that side of the floor, currently carrying the 2nd best defensive rating in the entire NBA at 107.4, behind only the defending champions LA Lakers. And if this wasn't enough proof of their defensive prowess, they're first in the league in points allowed per game with 104.4. A team that barely won 20 games a year ago has now nearly matched that same win total, and we're only halfway through the season. A large reason why they've dominated is because they've taken a more aggressive, gritty and tough approach to the defensive end, resulting in more energy and opportunity on the offensive end. This makes them immensely dangerous, as having a strong defense is paramount for any team looking to have playoff success. Come playoff time, players are going to get tired, defenses are going to have to adjust, and your number 1, 2 and 3 scoring options are going to have nights off. But one constant any successful team can rely on in this situation is tough, sound, methodical defense, which the Knicks have nearly perfected. Not to mention the fact that they're one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA, another underappreciated factor for a winning franchise. Rising stars. Julius Randle has undoubtedly taken massive leaps in his game, earning his first All-Star appearance.
First-time All-Star from the New York Knicks, Julius Randle!
Averaging a stunning 23.2 points per game, 11.1 rebounds per game, and 5.5 assists per game on 48% shooting from the field, 40% from 3, and over 80% from the line. He's putting up record-breaking stats as a do-it-all type player, and he's taken on the primary leadership role for a young Knicks team. He has, without question, been the leader for this team, averaging well over 36 minutes a game, and his efficiency levels are through the roof, with a PER of 27.6. On top of that, second-year player RJ Barrett has illustrated consistent scoring, toughness, and versatility throughout the season, matching up on both sides on the floor against some of the best in the world. He's significantly improved his efficiency levels and scoring output most notably, and we continuously see his confidence grow as he's maturing into the league. He's constantly improving, and many people forget that he'd likely have been the first overall pick last year if it wasn't for Zion stealing the show at Duke. With the resurgence of Derrick Rose to help the lead offense and the improved playoff of Elfrid Payton and rookie stud Emmanuel Quickley, this team resembles what any team with extensive playoff success should have, as just between Quickley, Barrett and Payton alone, the three have averaged over 41 points a game between them this season, far greater than most would have expected. However, more importantly is the star power that drives this up-and-coming franchise. Any successful team needs at least 3 stars. If you look at the 90s Bulls with Jordan, Pippen and Rodman, or the 08 Celtics with KG, Allen and Pierce, even the Heat squad led by LeBron, Wade and Bosh, or the most recent Warriors team led by Steph, Clay and Draymond, and eventually Durant as well. Trios within the NBA have been a thing for a while, and while I'm not saying that the Knicks squad has what it takes to win a Larry O.B. immediately or anything, they have put themselves in prime position to make some serious noise for years to come. With the all-star play of Julius Randle, the continuous improvement of R.J. Barrett, and the resurgence of elite play from Derrick Rose, this team could become a problem as the postseason rolls around. Nice blend of youth and experience. As touched on previously, this team's unique because they seem to have the perfect blend of young talented prospects and experienced veteran leadership, not to mention a variety of capable shooters from deep. This is necessary for any team that wants to go deep into the playoffs, as having the adequate mix of youth and experience is paramount in matching up both physically and mentally against opposing competition in the playoffs. Any team that's had any relative success in April to July hasn't only spent the money and resources to acquire their stars, but their role players as well. The value of veterans with extensive playoff experience or a history and continuity with coaches and teammates can't be understated. Players like Derrick Rose and Taj Gibson, for example, not only have multiple years of playoff success under their belts, but they've got years of experience being coached by Tom Thibodeau. Whether it be the old Bulls squad with Steve Kerr and Will Perdue, or the mid-2000s Lakers with players like Derek Fisher and Andrew Bynum, or even more recently with Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston on the Warriors, these names may not be the first that come to mind when you reminisce on these championship moments, but they all played pivotal roles in helping their teams win big-time games. I'm sure if you were to ask the legends that many deem responsible for their championship wins, they would all agree. Even reverting back to last season, the Lakers worked hard at making sure to acquire players like Rajon Rondo and Danny Green, both of which played massive roles in the team's championship run. I can go on and on looking at role players who help teams win NBA championships, but I think the point is pretty clear now. Any team that wants to compete in the playoffs is going to need a solid blend of talented young players and older players with playoff experience in order to win playoff games. And I believe the Knicks have done an impressive job at acquiring skilled prospects while still adding in veteran players with relevant playoff success. Conclusion. There are still a lot of questions surrounding this New York Knicks team, and while I don't necessarily believe they're going to win anything of great importance anytime soon, they've impressively propelled themselves into the conversation for years to come and could very well pose some serious danger for any team going up against them in the playoffs.